Okay, the course analysis. The course was consisted of 2 laps, each lap 22 kilometers, 240 meters of altitude. So in total for the whole race we are speaking about 44 kilometers of racing and 480 meters of climbing. So not a lot, yeah. So the course was pretty much flat, and all the like 90% of the whole course was fire roads, yeah. So it was pretty much wide area, but people still used the whole road, so it was not easy to bypass them. But there was no like this compression zones, like there was no any single track at all almost there. So it was clearly the race to draft, yeah, and that's we're gonna analyze today. The one thing I have to say about this race was that the race camp, where we like got there before the race and after the race, was a fantastic area, but not at the end, yeah. Okay guys, race strategy was pretty simple. Get to the front, keep the steady pace, like just below threshold, sweet spot zone, perfect. And then at the end, 5-minute power and win the race. That was the strategy. And use as most of drafting as you can, because on the flat courses the people are using a steady power. They don't like shoot to the VO2 and go back, yeah. As you see at the beginning, it's the whole field they are starting, and they are using the whole road, so it's hard to pass them. But there will be a certain scenarios. I was seeing some situations I could pass a lot of riders, so I'm of course using that, yeah. As you see, I'm passing them in every situation, one by one. If I can use drafting, I'm using that drafting. So I'm putting myself at the back of each rider. Okay, so what I'm thinking when I'm passing those guys? There are two things. I want to pass them, and I want to pass them in a safety way, yeah. So I don't want to crash. The most crashes in marathon racing, they happen at the beginning of the race. So people are compressed and you cannot trust those guys, yeah? People are doing some weird shit, yeah? Not everybody is a pro. This is like a local race. It's not like UCI race, yeah? But they are pretty strong guys over here on the field, like 380 FTP. This is like a standard here, yeah? So those guys in the front, they are very strong. So you cannot trust them, and I recognize those guys. If there is a guy who I seen in the last races and he was making some troubles, I detect that guy and I have to pass him as soon as possible, because he's a threat to my race. Yeah, if he crash in front of me, I will as well crash, and the whole peloton will crash. Yeah, so I'm trying to advance my position as fast as possible. And why we do it? We do it to avoid the crash, and as well we do it to before, if there is a single track in that course. And I didn't know about that because when I arrived on those races, I didn't pre-ride any of those courses. They are changed yearly. Every course is like a little bit similar, but they change here and there. Yeah, they're adding, deleting some of the single tracks. So I didn't know exactly when it's gonna compress. Yeah. So at the beginning you have to advance a lot of the position, because if for some reason you will get a very narrow single track in the beginning of the race, like we're talking about first 5 minutes, first 3 minutes, the whole field, which was very wide, they gonna compress to one rider after one rider, yeah, and the whole peloton will stretch a lot. So if the single track is ending, yeah, the people have now as again the wide area. You need to cover that meters which you lost, yeah, to the first guy. So imagine that it could be like maybe 10-20 seconds, depending of how long it's stretched, yeah. And depending that when people are riding the single tracks, they have a different skill sets, yeah. So some of them are very fast, some of them are very slow, and in effect is that the peloton is cutting to small sections. So if you allow to be in like 20 or 30 place back, you could be like fifth group at the end, yeah? And the first group already went far away and you will never catch them, yeah? So that's very important to the first 3 minutes. That's why people are doing VO2 max, like 3 minutes VO2 max power at the beginning of each race. And any race, if it is 2 hours, it's 1 hour, 3 hours, people are gonna do this stupid shit and put themselves in VO2 zone, yeah? And they have to do it. And I'm as well doing it. But I know that I have to conserve the energy, yeah? So I'm trying to advance here, trying to pass people, and I'm thinking that I need to do it fast, yeah? But I cannot like dig myself to the point I'm gonna blow up, because if you blow up on a flat course, you are done. Even if you need to recover for 2-3 minutes, the peloton will drop you and you will never recover from that. But you know that, yeah? Look on the road races. Look on the road races, yeah? If you get dropped on the road race, it's over. You can go home. And this is same over here. The same principles are here, yeah? But it's more, there is more conditions to you to get dropped, not only your like stamina, yeah? But you will get it. Okay, so here I detected the guy who almost crashed me last year. Yeah, he did like a very sketchy stuff. So I try to pass him as soon as I can. So tip number 2, you need to set up your speed, yeah, and your power zone, yeah. So the speed of course is dictated by a course, but your power is not, yeah. So if it is a flat course, we are talking about sweet spot stuff. You need to put yourself in the zone where you are not using too much lactate, yeah? You are not producing too much lactate, yeah? So for me it is like, if my FTP was during that time, I think it was something around 325, 330, something like in this area. So I put myself around 300, yeah? So I was trying to have a constant pressure on pedals to maintain that speed. Yeah, and I was still advancing all those people, and I didn't want to get like, okay, so as you see, I put my power zones in correct way, and I was able to ride the whole race without feeling that I'm bonking, but I was still putting a lot of pressure on pedals. So I was feeling very good for the whole race, yeah? Okay, so we set up the base power for that race, yeah? And we know the course is flat, yeah? So we have a lot of like this matches, yeah? We can use for a different section of the course, yeah? If there is no climbs at all, or at very short climbs, yeah, then we need to put those spikes somewhere in the places. So you can either use them to pass those guys and like advance quickly during the trails, or you can, as I did, I was putting that power each corner. So when I was going into the corner, I was taking, if it was possible, I was taking the apex of the corner and applying my high power. Like I was going like VO2 neuromuscular power, just for 15 to 20 seconds to get back to the proper speed, yeah? And I knew that I will not blow up because there is no any hardcore climbs, yeah? So this is, you see, the strategy you can utilize on the flat races, yeah? Okay, so I tried to utilize the drafting method, yeah, on that flat course. From the beginning, I was just thinking, okay, I need to pass those guys and I need to use as much as drafting as I can. Yeah, and so how I did. So I was passing them, but if there was a faster rider, I seen that he's maintaining around the same base power as me, I was going at the back of him, yeah? And I was trying to use him as my train, yeah? So, but it's a very rare situation to find the guy who's exactly the same fitness level as you during that day and during the same race, yeah? But you will find those guys, and I have found those guys. And there was 2 guys going from the same team, and they were using this drafting strategy very well. They were switching themselves every 3 to 5 minutes, and they were doing something like a little bit below the threshold level. I don't think they were good. They were going like whole threshold stuff and then switching, because this is situation when they could blow up, yeah, and they don't want to do the stage over here where I live. They are not so super experienced, yeah, with those drafting strategies. Not like US crit racing. It's not like that. But they were switching, and I told them that okay, guys, I'm gonna help. We're gonna catch the first group if we're gonna use drafting together, and I was as well helping in that situation. I was not like just going on the wheel on the back of them. We started to see some guys at the front. We seen those guys and we targeted them, and we started to cooperate more. Yeah, so your enemies from this race are starting to be your friends, like friend enemies, something like that. Yeah, so you are working together for a specific goal to catch the group, and if we catch the group, the first group, then everybody's again are all enemies. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, so that. Okay, tip number 4: how to advance in early stage of the race. How to tell those guys you are faster and they should move aside. Well, it's not that easy, but if there is this rule that you can use your words, say like on the left, on the right, yeah, and they are obligated, or let's say it's nice that they're gonna move on the right, yeah, on the left, and make a place for you to advance in the position. So I'm racing a lot, like every year, and if I say left or right, people usually they make place for me to ride faster. So it's normal. Don't fake I'm rude and I'm telling those guys to get the fuck out of my road, yeah? This is normal. This is normal that you have to make a place for the faster riding, yeah? So use the words like left, right, I'm going on the left, I'm going on the right, and people will know and they're gonna move aside, yeah? And that's what happened. Look on the footage. I'm able to advance just saying to those guys like 10 positions. 10 positions. It's huge. Imagine there is a single track just after that, and I'm now the first rider, not the like last, yeah? This is huge advantage. So use every time. Okay, there was one funny situation during that race. I almost laughed. I was following one guy in a draft on his wheel, yeah, like for 5 minutes or so, and then suddenly he takes his hand on the bottle, so he wants to drink a little bit of his isotonic or water, yeah. And in my mind there was this special new objective to do. I'm gonna drop that guy. Now is the moment I'm dropping this guy, yeah. So I'm passing him immediately, taking myself into the corner perfectly and trying to drop the guy, and suddenly the guy got catapulted. I don't know what was in that drink, but look what's going on. The guy, he just catapulted from me. He almost dropped me, and that was my idea to drop him, yeah? So imagine what would happen if I didn't put any power, yeah? He would drop me there, yeah. But I was able to regain that distance, which he took out from me. So he didn't drop me at the end, and I dropped him at the end later, yeah. So, but keep in mind, he had to be a very skilled cornerer. He cornered like a champ. So learn the technique, learn the cornering, learn applying the pressure and not touching the brakes in the corners. Yeah. Okay, guys, 12 kilometers to go, and I have to make a very hard decision if I'm gonna continue that race or at least continue with that group, because I suspected that my rear wheel, the rim, is touching the ground, the terrain, yeah? It means that I have less than 1 bar in that wheel. So I had to make a decision if I'm continuing my race with that group or I'm stopping, putting the CO2 pump, yeah, inflating my rear wheel to a correct pressure and continuing the riding, yeah. So the risk was like that. I'm gonna continue that race, and hopefully my wheel will survive and will not get destroyed on the end of in the race. There are specific trails and a little bit of downhill. So okay, so I decided to stop because I made this simple calculation that my wheel costs 500 USD, yeah? And if I destroy that wheel, I will be very angry. And even if I win the races, I'm not able to buy that wheel back. Yeah, so it was very straightforward. So I'm pulling down. But before that, I'm to save a little bit of time. I'm already taking out my CO2 pump, and then I'm just stopping quickly. I'm locating the inflating valve, yeah, putting my CO2 pump there, putting the correct pressure. Everything took me at least 1 minute, maybe 10 seconds, something like that. There was a few, as you see on the footage, there was some problems with screwing back the valve, but I'm getting back on the bike, and the result is that I'm trying to catch those guys again, but I'm not able to catch them fully because they are using drafting and I'm alone, so it was very hard to catch them, but still I was able to ride normal. Okay, but let's take a look into the results table, yeah? The results table shows that I was not able to win that race, no matter if my wheel went flat or not, yeah? I see the first 10 riders were ahead, like 3.5 minutes ahead of us. So it is a lot for MTB races, and we had the distance was like 12 kilometers to catch them, so there had to be a major crash or something to happen to us to get to them, yeah? It was almost impossible to catch them, so yeah, so the race, so my group was starting at 11 over here, and yeah, and I was 19 over here, so my result is 1 hour 39 minutes 28 seconds, yeah? And the first rider which won was 1 hour 34 and 9 seconds, yeah? So if you can say, oh, it's not bad, it's like 5 minutes, it's huge amount. The guy at the first, he came, he puts himself on the ground and he waits 5 minutes. That's ages in racing, yeah? So as you see, those guys were super fit that day, and they deserve to win, yeah? So as you see, I was not able to win that, but I could be, at the best, I could be 11 that day, if I didn't have any flat, yeah? So guys, let's take a look on the numbers for that race. Normalized power almost 397, average power 277 watts for 1 hour 39 minutes. So is it bad? It was average, I would say, for me, but for that day it was my top performance, what I could do. So my fitness level was not like super impressive, 49, so normally I have around 62, 64, yeah. So I was a little bit undertrained for that period, but I was still taking pleasure of that racing, yeah. So if it comes to cadence, quite good cadence for me, 84, not too low, not too high, yeah. So I was able to apply pressure for the whole race almost. So as you see, for the first lap, I was doing 304 normalized power, yeah? And for the second part of the race, until the end, I was doing 289. So it looks like that for the second part I was a little bit slower because I was using a lot of those drafts from the other guys, yeah? I almost forgot about the race camp, yeah? Race camp was fantastic. Guys, it was placed close to the lake. They gave you a free ban, a beer, 0%. 0% beer. We don't want to destroy our fitness, yeah? So, but it was free. And you could lay over there. They give you a food over there as well. Like if you were riding that course, there was a free food for you. So I wish all the bike organizers were doing something like that.
So there was
Okay, guys, so
clearly
it was a fun race, but if you have any comments or race strategies, maybe for flat courses like this, let me know in the comments, and see you in the next one. Boom.